There are stories that entertain us. There are stories that teach us. And then there are stories that seem to outlive the civilizations that created them. Nearly 3,000 years after it was first told, the Odyssey continues to captivate readers around the world. It has inspired writers, philosophers, psychologists, and artists for centuries. It has survived the rise and fall of empires, crossed continents, and found new life in every generation. That alone should make us curious. Stories do not survive for thousands of years by accident. They survive because they continue to reveal something true about the people who hear them. Most people believe the Odyssey is the story of a man trying to return home after the Trojan War. That is certainly the plot, but perhaps it is not the story. After all, Homer could have ended his tale with the fall of Troy. The war had been won. The hero had survived. Odysseus had earned his place among legends. Instead, Homer begins the most important part of the journey only after the victory. 10 years fighting a war. 10 more trying to return home. That decision feels almost strange. Surely the greatest challenge had already been overcome. Surely everything that followed was simply the road back. But perhaps that is exactly what Homer wanted us to question. Why is returning home harder than winning the war? Perhaps because the real conflict was never against Troy. Perhaps it was against the man who fought there. At first, Odysseus appears to possess everything a hero should. He is courageous, resourceful, patient. He defeats stronger enemies not through brute force, but through intelligence. He survives where others perish because he adapts when others refuse to change. By every measure, he has already earned his happy ending. His wife waits for him. His son is growing up without a father. His kingdom remains his. He only has to sail home. Yet the sea refuses to give him a straight path. Storms scatter his fleet. His companions make disastrous decisions. One island after another rises from the horizon, each delaying the journey a little longer. At first glance, these seem like obstacles placed in the hero's path. But look closer, and another pattern begins to appear. Very few of them force Odysseus to stay. Most invite him to. The Lotus Eaters do not attack. They do not imprison him. They offer him something far more dangerous: forgetfulness. Those who eat the lotus lose all desire to continue their journey. Home no longer matters. The future no longer matters. The road simply disappears from their minds. It is one of the oldest scenes in Western literature, yet it feels surprisingly modern, because most people do not lose themselves all at once. Dreams rarely vanish overnight. Instead, they fade quietly, one distraction at a time, one comfortable day at a time, one postponed decision at a time. Nothing dramatic happens. We simply stop moving. Perhaps Homer understood something that remains true thousands of years later. Not every danger appears as suffering. Some arrive disguised as comfort. Odysseus drags his men back to the ships because he understands what they no longer can. If they remain on that island, they will never leave. Not because they are trapped, but because they have forgotten why they ever began the journey. And perhaps that is one of life's greatest temptations. Not failure, not defeat, but forgetting what we once believed was worth fighting for. The further Odysseus sails, the clearer the pattern becomes. Every island offers him a different reason to abandon his journey. Not through violence, but through temptation. Circe offers him comfort, a place to rest, a place to forget the hardships of the sea. Then comes Calypso. She offers something no human being has ever truly possessed: freedom from time, freedom from age, freedom from death itself. Imagine carrying the weight of 20 years of war and wandering, only to be told that it can all end. No more storms, no more uncertainty, no more loss, only peace. It is perhaps the greatest temptation in the entire poem, because Calypso does not offer pleasure alone. She offers escape. An escape from everything that makes life difficult, and yet Odysseus refuses. Not because Ithaca is more beautiful, not because his future there promises happiness. He has no reason to believe it will. His son has grown without him. His kingdom may already be lost. His wife may no longer be waiting. Everything he hopes to return to exists only in memory. Yet he leaves. Why? Because somewhere deep within him, he understands a truth that is easy to forget. A life without struggle is not necessarily a meaningful one. Comfort can ease our suffering, but it cannot tell us who we are. Meaning comes from choosing the life that is ours, even when it asks more of us than we think we can give. The journey continues. Then comes the Cyclops. At first, it seems like another tale of courage and cleverness. Odysseus traps the giant, blinds him, escapes with his men beneath the bellies of sheep. It is one of the greatest victories of his journey. But Homer does something remarkable. He refuses to let victory be the end of the story. As the ships drift away, Odysseus cannot resist shouting back. He tells the Cyclops his name. He wants the monster to know who defeated him. For one brief moment, his pride becomes stronger than his wisdom. That single decision changes everything. The Cyclops calls upon Poseidon. The sea itself becomes his enemy. Years of wandering follow, not because Odysseus lacked intelligence, but because he believed intelligence alone was enough. Perhaps that is another lesson hidden within the journey. Life rarely defeats us where we are weakest. More often, it humbles us through our greatest strengths. Confidence becomes arrogance. Courage becomes recklessness. Intelligence becomes vanity. The very qualities that help us succeed can, if left unchecked, become the cause of our suffering. As the years pass, something begins to change. The monsters grow less important. The storms become less frightening. The greatest battle is no longer taking place on the sea. It is taking place within Odysseus himself. The man who left Troy believed he could overcome anything through cleverness. The man approaching Ithaca has learned that endurance is greater than brilliance, that humility is stronger than pride, that patience often achieves what force never can. Perhaps this is why the Odyssey has never truly grown old. Very few of us will ever stand before a Cyclops. None of us will hear the song of the sirens echoing across the sea. Yet every one of us knows what it means to become distracted from the life we hoped to build. Every one of us has mistaken comfort for happiness. Every one of us has watched pride turn a victory into a mistake. The monsters have changed. Human nature has not. And then, after 20 years, Odysseus finally sees the shores of Ithaca. And yet, when Odysseus finally reaches Ithaca, he does not rush to embrace his family. He does not march through the gates as a victorious king. He does not announce his return. Instead, he steps onto the island as a stranger, disguised as a beggar. It is one of the most remarkable moments in the entire poem. The greatest king in Greece returns home with nothing that once defined him. No army, no armor, no trophies, no glory, only experience. It is as though Homer is asking us one final question. If everything the world once used to identify you were taken away, who would you be? Because that is the man standing on the shores of Ithaca, not the warrior who sailed to Troy, not the young king hungry for honor, but someone shaped by loss, patience, failure, endurance, and time. Then comes one of the quietest and perhaps most heartbreaking scenes in all of literature. Argos, his old hunting dog. 20 years have passed. The palace has forgotten him. Many believe him dead. The kingdom has learned to live without its king, but Argos recognizes him instantly. Too weak to stand, the old dog lifts his head, sees his master one last time, and quietly dies. It is a brief moment. Homer could easily have left it out, yet he doesn't. Because some reunions are not meant to celebrate what has returned. They remind us of everything that time has taken away. While Odysseus struggled to return home, home continued without him. His son became a man. His father grew old. His wife spent years living between hope and grief. Time had not paused for the hero. It never does. Perhaps that is the hardest truth in the Odyssey. We often imagine that one day we will return to the life we left behind. We tell ourselves that when the struggle is over, when the work is done, when the pain has passed, everything will be as it was. But life does not wait for us. Neither do the people we love. Neither do we. The person who leaves is never the person who returns. That is why Odysseus cannot simply walk back into his own life. He must first discover who he has become. Only then can he reclaim his place. Perhaps this is why Homer's story has survived for nearly 3,000 years. Not because it tells us about monsters, not because it tells us about gods, but because it tells us something quietly true about every human life. Every one of us leaves home in one way or another. We leave through ambition, through love, through loss, through curiosity, through necessity. And somewhere along the way, we imagine that the goal is to return unchanged. But the journey was never designed to preserve us. It was designed to transform us. That is why the road is long. That is why it is uncertain. That is why every hardship matters. Without the years at sea, Odysseus returns as a warrior. With them, he returns as a man who understands himself. Perhaps that was Homer's real message. Home is not simply a place waiting for us at the end of the road. It is something we become worthy of through the journey itself. The real meaning of Odysseus's journey is not that he found his way back to Ithaca. It is that he could never return as the man who left. And perhaps that is true for all of us. The greatest journeys are not the ones that change where we live. They are the ones that change who we are. Maybe that is why, after nearly 3,000 years, we are still telling this story. Because somewhere, in every life, there comes a moment when we realize that we are not trying to find our way back to the past. We are trying to become the person who can finally arrive. If today's journey resonated with you, we encourage you to read the Odyssey by Homer. More than an ancient epic, it is a timeless exploration of purpose, temptation, perseverance, and the long journey of becoming who we are meant to be. You'll find a link to the book in the description and in the pinned comment. You can also explore more philosophy and psychology books through our bookshop page. If this video resonated with you, consider subscribing for more explorations of philosophy, psychology, and the timeless stories that continue to shape the human experience. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Thank you for watching.